hands down, the best episode of Akame Got Killed thus far. Episode 4, best episode of Akame we've had. So for starters, we start off with this guy, this executioner, and he's choking some bitch, and I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck is this episode about to bring me? And he beheads the chick. Now, they try to do a little bit of censorship. They didn't want to show the exact pulling of the head or the cutting of the head, but they still showed it for the most part. And at the end of the day, it's like, how fucking beast does an episode, like, have to be when you're starting off with some dude choking a bitch and then beheading her? Like, Akame just went tenfold better. And we get some information in this episode as well on these abilities, the Teigu, and pretty much what they can do for some of them. Especially, we got, for the most part, the breakdown on all of Night Raid and their abilities. And seemingly the captain doesn't need one, which makes me question just how fucking strong the captain is if she don't have one. But ultimately, everyone's is just like, oh my fucking god, we got a really good breakdown. And apparently, there's 48 of them, and we're going to be encountering them throughout the journey. This guy, Zanku, I believe his name was, the executioner, his one was very interesting. It was kind of like predicting things and can also make you have illusions, but everyone has different ones, and all of Night Raid is just beast as hell. I mean, when we get a little bit more of a breakdown of Akame's sword and how if she just cuts herself, like a little cut with her sword, she'll die right there. It's like, these Teigu are no joke, and it kind of is reminiscent a bit of the series Natsu no Taizai, how they have these weapons that are very special. With these, they have like different abilities, so it's giving a little bit more of a fantastical type of feel to it and getting a little bit more supernatural, but it's just anteing up a lot more and making the stakes a lot higher as far as like these weapons. They have, you know, some pretty good value, and they're making these fights way bigger than they would normally be if it was just a regular sword fight. And when it came to Tatsumi versus this big executioner, I like how he was still trying to hold his own, but for the most part, we can see that the Teigu people definitely have advantages, and it's making me wonder, will Tatsumi eventually get one? And if he does, what type of Teigu will it be? But when Akame jumps in, it's like, the animation for this episode, the art for this episode, the approach, the information that we got, the progression, the different things that happened in this episode definitely made it by far the best episode of Akame, and just overall a fucking amazing episode. We just got some really good information, some world building, and the animation in that fight with Akame versus the executioner dude, and kind of how it was a little bit of depth to this guy as well. It wasn't just, I'm bad, rah. You know, this guy actually, he's done so many fucked up things that he started getting crazy. He was already like a bit whack jobbed out, and when Akame defeats him, which by the way, if you notice, Akame wasn't struggling against this guy. She is at a whole different level. I mean, you gotta question the characterization that we got with Akame with this week's episode, where she sees the person that she wants to see the most, because like Tatsumi got to see that girl, she got to see what was seemingly her sister, and she killed without no hesitation. So first of all, that shows that Akame, she's hard-boiled. There ain't no fucking with Akame. It doesn't fucking matter what you throw at this chick. She's gonna fucking slash you down, and I love it. I absolutely love this episode of Akame Got Killed. Really no complaints. There's nothing really to complain about. I mean, a split second of censorship in the beginning where they kind of cut off for a split second when he cut the girl's head off, but aside from that, it was just an incredible episode. The animation and just getting a little bit more of the depth to these people, how they've gone through so many things. Like, this guy has killed so many people that he was just hearing their voices nonstop, and Akame was like, nah, I don't hear none of that. So that really makes you wonder, how off the deep end is Akame? She doesn't seem like she's crazy at the same time, because, you know, she's doing normal things. She's cooking, and I think Night Raid gave her a more stable life than maybe she's had in the past. I don't really know. You know, I gotta obviously get more info on her past, but she's definitely a lot more grounded because of Night Raid, and I think that gives her a bond and kind of settles her down a little bit more than what she would be if she wasn't with Night Raid, because she's probably killed a lot of people from what I had imagined. And when he's laying on the ground, the executioner, Zanku, and he's just kind of like, thank you, the voices have finally stopped. I was like, that was just perfectly done. Like, this episode, very fast-paced, very action-heavy, very fast-paced, and we got some good information and a little bit of building into these weapons and the things that they can do. It's like, Night Raid ain't nothing to fuck with. Akame definitely ain't nothing to fuck with. And the characterization we got with her, again, she seemingly is very cold, but at the same time very warm. So it's almost as if there's colliding parts to Akame. It's like, she will slash you down in a second, but the people that she really cares for deeply, she treasures them and really worries about them. So a pretty deep character Akame is thus far. And overall, I gotta say, for the 4th episode, especially in comparison to the other 3 episodes, this was a phenomenal episode. And overall, I gotta give this episode, you hearing it right, 10 out of 10. There was nothing to complain about. It was marvelous. The animation stepped up. And it took a little bit long for them to get to this point where it's like, okay, the animation is looking marvelous, but when Akame was going up against that guy, it was no complaints from me. It was just marvelous, and it's like, this is the Akame ga kill that I was waiting for, and it's like, yes, fucking yes, I loved it. Keep going this route, because as of right now, it's like, Tatsumi has a ways to go, but if he gets a Teigu, it was like, oh my god, he's gonna be fucking beast, because he was still trying to hold his own. It's like, he wasn't completely getting owned by the Zanku guy. He was still trying to hold his own, and he was like, you know, bloody everywhere, so just a marvelous episode, 10 out of 10. Akame's character is showing so much promise right now. It's like, I really want to find out more at the same time about the relationship with her sister. Is her sister dead? I'm guessing her sister has to be dead at this point. And if she's not dead, then she fucking maybe hates her sister but still loves her because that's her sister. So it's like maybe a love-hate relationship, I'd imagine. And it's like, Akame, baby. She's looking like waifu material right now. But let me know what you thought of this episode. First of all, what do you think about the Teigu? Who do you think has the best one out of Night Raid that we've seen thus far? Because they all had some crazy shit. Also, what do you think about Tatsumi? Do you think that if he does get a Teigu, he would just be super OP or very strong? Because without one, he was kind of holding his own at the same time. He wasn't completely out of it. So with one, just imagine. And also your thoughts on him kind of holding this thing with his friends as well. I really like that they're keeping that element in there because it's showing that he is a deep character at the same time as well. It's not completely lapsed in jokes. He still is visiting the graves, and I'll say it again. I said it last week. I'll say it again. He reminds me of Kakashi when he constantly goes to Rin and Obito's graves and, you know, the regrets that he holds. It's like slowly building these characters to what they are, and I just can't wait to keep on with this ride of Akame ga kill. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, you can do so as well. That'd be awesome. I'm from Neverworld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. It's down the best episode of Akame ga kill thus far. Episode 4, best episode of Akame we've had. So for starters, we start off with this guy, this executioner, and he's choking some bitch, and I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck is this episode about to bring me? And he beheads the chick. Now, they try to do a little bit of censorship. They didn't want to show the exact pulling of the head or the cutting of the head, but they still showed it for the most part. And at the end of the day, it's like, how fucking beast does an episode, like, have to be when you're starting off with some dude choking a bitch and then beheading her? Like, Akame just went 10 folds better. And we get some information in this episode as well on these abilities, the Teigu, and pretty much what they can do for some of them. Especially, we got, for the most part, the breakdown on all of Night Raid and their abilities. And seemingly, the captain doesn't need one, which makes me question just how fucking strong the captain is if she don't have one. But